until you did.
I feel like I can't know.
You better figure it out, damn it.
Okay.
I messed it up the first time.
Well, stop talking!
Okay.
Get ready?
Yeah. Where's your cup?
I'm gonna grab it. That's part of it.
Yeah, your butt.
Got it?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's do the intro.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of It Is Fine, Everything's Fine. I'm Amani.
I'm Zasia.
And today we are talking about turning 30. I hope that's...
It's gonna go either way.
We're turning 30.
30. In a few years.
I would say,
though.
full transparency, we have a couple years before we're actually going to be 30. But we might as well be 30 like tomorrow, the way people talk. So it seems like in our society, mid-20s, late 20s, you're already 30. So I get a lot of the, you're going to be 30 soon, and, well, you're almost 30, and it's like, bro, I'm not even 26 yet. But apparently I'm close enough to where I might as well already be 30, and apparently I'm supposed to have all my stuff together. So we're going to talk about what that looks like, turning 30, what you're supposed to have together by the time you are 30, at least what they say you're supposed to have together by the time you're 30. Kids, the white picket fence, the house, the good job, the nice car, all that good stuff. Because, excuse me, childless pressure.
Pressure.
You stupid.
The pressure is getting worse.
Okay, what do you feel like has been or is the biggest misconception about turning 30?
I mean, pretty much what you just said. Having everything in your life centered and perfect, and like have the career established, have, you know, the home established, have your family established. Like all of these things you're supposed to have
Before you turn 30.
before you turn 30, and then once you turn 30, like you better
maintain
have
it.
or maintain it. If not, then what are you doing with your life?
Right.
So it's almost kind of just like that taboo topic. Like I feel like 30 is just taboo because a lot of people like to talk about what you should have from the 30. Mind you, not even considering the fact that everybody's lives are different. Everyone's paths are different, their journeys. Some people don't want kids. Some people don't want to get married. That's totally fine. But there's just this misconception that you're supposed to have all of that and more by the time you're 30. So it's kind of wild because if you really think about it, like for me at least, high school flashed.
Girl,
College
high school was
flashed.
so. High school was long, and college has been even longer.
It's weird. Like it's almost like everything happens so fast that it's just like, well, wait a minute. Like it's still really, really hard, especially nowadays because COVID has become really like a big obstacle for a lot of college students, because I graduated in the mid-tool of COVID. Like
Right.
not even in the middle when it first started.
Right.
Literally, like 2020. So it's like it was really hard for people to get jobs because there were no jobs to really be had. No one was working.
Yeah.
And you couldn't go into an office. You couldn't do anything. So it was like,
What do you do?
what do you do?
I feel like to your point, because I'm still in college and I'm almost 30, girl, I walk around campus and I oh my gosh. One of my professors in my class, the one from South Korea, I walked into class one day, he looked at me and he was like, 22? And I was like, what? He's like, you're 22. I was like, dude, I'm 25. He was like, oh. I was like,
Why would you even ask me my age?
he was talking to, I guess, this other students about how old they were.
That's none of his
And I
business.
was like, I'm flattered, I guess, but also, no, honey. I'm older than probably most of the kids in this class.
But again, that's not, you don't, it's not your business.
Hey. I wasn't upset that he asked my age or, like, guessed it, but also it was just,
But then the reaction.
He was like, oh, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not 22. I was 22. I'm not anymore.
Once upon a time.
Right, once upon a long time. Feels like a long time ago.
It really
Gosh.
wasn't that long ago.
And this kid, it was actually quite sweet, but he like followed me after class and was trying to talk to me. And I think he asked how old I was. I was like, I'm 25. He was like, oh. And immediately just kept walking.
Why is this like a... And the thing is, too, it's just like, why is it that's
crazy?
people?
Yeah, like that's just the craziest thing.
Like,
I was like
how dare you be this old, which is not even
and still
old,
be in
and
college.
still be in college, or even just in general, like people
why is
that are
getting
still,
older such a thing?
Why? As if we don't live in a world of inflation where everything is hard and everything's expensive, and we have to do what we have to do to survive.
Yeah. It definitely, though, to your point, it adds to the feeling of, God, I'm almost 30. I need to get my life together because I'm still in college. And granted, there's nothing wrong with that. It takes time, baby. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
It takes time. Sure. But just it has added to the level of, okay, I gotta figure out my life because I'm too old to still be in college, really and truly. How I feel, at least. I'm too old to be prepping to quit my job, y'all. I'm quitting my job the end of this month. And no, I don't have a plan. I have a plan. No, I don't have another job lined up. No, I don't. Like, no, I don't. It is what it is. I'm quitting my job because I'm almost 30 and I'm still working a job that barely pays my bills. So, yeah.
And don't settle. And to add to your point, don't settle for things that you feel like you have to just because of your age. For example, if you're working that job where you're sitting in an office and you feel like, oh, corporate America, I've made it. You know, like I'm big time adulting, I'm big time this. And it is not paying your bills and it is not giving you some type of purpose or fulfillment or something of that nature, do not feel bad to leave that job. It is not anyone else's responsibility to take care of your life but you.
That's one thing I think I've learned from you, not feeling loyal to a job that really is not
loyal to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel guilty, like, sometimes for planning to quit my job, and it's just like...
Chabu, I quit my job in 7 months. The last job I had, I quit in 7 months. Oh. Did I have a job lined up? Absolutely not. Do I regret it? Kind of. But...
questionable.
But under the circumstances, my mental health was so bad. You know how bad it was. It was deteriorating so badly. And it wasn't paying my bills. So why would I, that doesn't make any sense.
And I'm in that same place now. I feel like with the level of stress, because I listen to people complain all freaking day. That's all I do is listen to people complain. And then that's exhausting to be surrounded by complaints all day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
On top of everything else. On top
of like negative energy.
It is. Like, it's draining. And for the most part, I'm okay with it. Like, I can deal with it. But just having to deal with it all day and still be under $30 an hour.
It's wild.
And I don't care what nobody says. Yes, on paper, I make decent money. That's fine. But the reality is, when I get paid, baby, that money is gone.
And that's the thing that people like to say, oh, well, you get paid good, baby. Do you know how much rent is now? Do you know how much car notes are now? Do you know how much gas is, groceries? A carton of eggs is $10. It is not, we are not living in a world where it balances.
Right.
We are living way under our means.
Case in point. Just an example. So, my car note is $450. My car insurance is $250. My half of my rent that I split with my lover is $750. So that's $250. God, that's not good in math. That's already
I know.
Almost $1,500 by itself. That doesn't include groceries. That doesn't include
gas,
power, internet, because I work
water.
from home. I have to have internet. That doesn't include water. None of that stuff. I make $2,000 a month. And just with those three things, $1,500 is gone.
Yep.
It's not giving what it's supposed to give. It's not giving what it's supposed to give. I'm not convinced. So no, I'm quitting.
Yeah.
Period. And I'll figure it out. I'd rather be unemployed.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing. We always figure it out.
Girl, I'd rather be unemployed and like not stressed than full-time employed and I'm still stressed the hell out.
What's the point?
There's no purpose
see the trade-off. Yeah, there's no purpose.
I don't see the trade-off. We went on a tangent. My fault. Sorry. Back to it. Turning 30.
Yeah, 30 is... I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that I don't have any type of, like, anxiety approaching that age, but I think I have to learn to stop living in the perception of society and start thinking more about what is it that I want, because ultimately, as long as I meet my goals, how old I am does not matter. These are milestones that I plan to reach in my life, in my lifetime. Because let's be very frank, like, life is short.
Ugh.
You don't really have as much time as you think you do to do all of these things set by society. It's not up to them. It's really up to you. So if you don't love the job you're in, if you don't love how you're being treated in your company, you are replaceable.
And so are they.
So don't waste any more of your time in a company because it makes your dad happy, or it makes your mom proud, or because it's the dream job that they wanted for you, and in your 30s, that's what's going to set you up for retirement. And that's sad to think about. Like, literally, we're just going to put you up in a job that's going to set you up for retirement. And it's like you don't get any type of fulfillment out of it. 30 it should not be as taboo as we're making it sound. It really is what you make it to be. Some people grow and flourish in their 30s. I'm speaking that into existence for my life. In my 30s, oh, but we're going up. We're going up.
I was gonna say, I'm excited to turn 30.
Yeah,
honestly,
I personally have no, I did say I'm anxious, and I am in a way, just because of my personal goals and my deadlines that I want for myself. But as far as turning 30, it doesn't scare me as much as the world may want it to scare me. And it's just like, I'm cool with it. Like, I plan on being
I'm gonna be
that girl in my 30s.
I'm gonna be a mom in my 30s.
So
that's what I want.
And I feel like,
but of course, I want to have I want to be established. Like, I want to spend the next couple of years of my life getting my life together, figuring out finances, figuring out whatever, blah, 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 all that. So that way, by the time I turn 30 and I want to start having kids, because ideally, I want at least one kid before I'm 30. So by the time I'm 30, I want to already.
That's literally 3 years. You're gonna have a baby in 3 years.
4.
4 years.
I could.
Right, but is that what you want?
It's giving 2024.
But is that some? Well, we'll talk about it later. But seriously, ask yourself those things, because of what she said exactly is the point that I'm making. Because by that time, you're supposed to have something established. Does not mean that you should bring a child into this world without being prepared, without being ready. Just because you're 26, 27, 28, 29 does not mean that you have to have a child.
No, it doesn't.
And that doesn't mean that you have to have a husband or a wife or whatever. It's cool, man. It's more troublesome to think that society pressures you into having all of these things by a certain age, only to basically not prepare you. Hence, abortion laws.
Hence, we have all of these different programs and assistances that are assistance agencies that are so freaking hard to get into, but you're gonna force me to have a baby you're gonna force a 16-year-old to have a baby, and I'm not saying I'm pro-life, that's none of y'all's business, quite frankly. I'm not having that discussion. But I think it's crazy that we're having those type of debates when the assistance agencies that are in place are not assisting the way that they're supposed to assist.
Yeah,
so you're going to force people to have children. We're already overpopulated. We already can barely, survive with what we got. You're going to force people to have children that they can't take care of. They're going to end up in the foster care system, or, end up in these different systems. You won't give assistance. I don't qualify for food stamps, and I don't make nothing. So God forbid I had a kid, I can barely take care of myself with having somebody to split my bills with. I can't qualify for food stamps. I don't qualify for any type of other government assistance because on paper I make too much money. But if I can't feed my kid, you're going to take my kid from me. Then my kid's going to end up in the system, and then it's going to be this big thing. And it's just like, bro, you're not helping me. Help me.
Yeah. Our system is naturally rigged against us anyway.
Especially us.
We're not, they're not in any position to help us grow and thrive. It's truly set up against us. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And I feel like it's set up against, I feel like it's almost doubly rigged against you if you're black or a woman of color. If you're a woman and you got color in you, you're already 2 for 1 striking out.
Already not in your favor.
Yeah, you're already striking out, and it's just I'm not disregard.
I was gonna say this is definitely a topic for another day.
Disregard. Well, I was gonna say something that would probably be
problematic.
Yeah, and I don't want to be problematic.
Yeah, it's too soon. Let's just stick to 30.
Yeah.
You know, but that leads to our point. Like,
it's literally impossible to have
hard to
everything
live
together.
live with all of these means.
Yeah.
And still have it together. Like, you literally, and it's like, and it also just depends on like how you were really, the foundation that you were set. For examples, the Kardashians have no problem with any of those things. They literally started out from money and they just build off of it. People, normal people, we don't have that.
But it's sad because how many families like that? I mean, I guess technically they're Armenian, so they're at least part Armenian, so they are people of color. But really and truly, how many black people do you see in those same positions?
Not many. They had to get it out the mud.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. I mean, it's not something that was given to them. We had to work extra hard. We had to put in extra effort. Everything we do is more because we have to. So it's not something that's can be achieved overnight. And, you know, even though I feel like I'm pretty established somewhat for my age, I feel like, you know, like I got the place, you know, that I wanted. I have, you know, I take care of my own bills, and I wanted to live that independent lifestyle that I've wanted for so long. So I got there and I'm good, but now it's like, what's next?
How I keep it?
What's next? Like, what do I do to give me fulfillment? I got what I wanted, but what's gonna fulfill me? Right. Oh, I'm already 26 years old. Shit. So I got 4 more years.
You got like 5.5.
What are you talking about?
You have 5.5 years before you're 30.
Oh yeah. So do you.
No, I don't.
Well, you'll be 26 next month. Anyway, semantics. Anyways. Get on my nerves.
I was saying to your point, because you were saying I got 4 years. I'm like, no, girl, you got more time. You got more time. Like, you're
but
good.
I only have 3 additional months than you do. It's not that much longer.
Shit. Shoot. Sorry. I'm
So,
trying to not be a sailor.
It's not like I'm really that far off.
No, we're
so,
not that far apart.
Yeah. So, yeah. But anyways, now you lost me in my train of thought.
You know,
but I was saying, you know, I'm not on anyone else's time frame but my own.
Right.
Like, I don't care what anybody else has to say. Because first off, ain't nobody paying my bills with me. That's the first thing. Like, no one's paying, because it's real. Like, people take people take other, you know, inputs as like bond. And it's just like, are you contributing to any type of success in my life? Are you contributing to anything in my life? No? Okay.
What is it? Feed me, F me, finance me?
Yeah. Is it? No?
Something like that.
None of those things? Okay, so relevance. Where? There is none. So, what the fuck what you talking about? I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, that's, it really is.
So, what is a goal that you have for turning 30?
For turning 30?
Before you turn 30, what's one thing you want to have accomplished?
Okay. Before I turn 30, I think a goal that I have for myself, is to really be starting to put in the effort to really, really dive into my career. I know right now I'm kind of like, the best way I can describe it is like I'm tap dancing around it, but I'm not actually in it, versus actually being in my career. So whether that
She's a psych degree.
Yeah. So I have my psych degree, and I want to get involved. One thing that's always been interesting to me is law enforcement and crime, and, you know, being a part of something bigger than myself, being involved in very high profile cases. That's really like something that's always been interesting to me. So, you know, my thought process is like long-term FBI, like long-term, I want to be in the bureau. That's something that I've kind of thought about and was like, okay, we're gonna do that. Not saying that could be subject to change, because anything can be subject to change in my life. You can have one idea and work towards that, and obviously, you know, as long as I don't give up and if I try, I feel like you can't lose if you try.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. So to answer your question, I would say one of those things would be taking the steps to actively be involved and build an application for me to be in the bureau.
Okay.
That's a goal. That way I can really narrow down what it is that I want to do. And the crazy thing is, I can put all this time into it, and what if I don't want to do it? What if it doesn't work out?
Right.
I tried.
That's what it is. Right.
And I'm not gonna regret that. Regretting is not trying and wish you had.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if I try and I put 110% of my efforts into it and it doesn't work out, then it's like, well, I tried, and not only did I try, but I put 110% of myself in it. So there's no regret involved. So that's also part of it, you know? Just, nothing's set in stone. You're not gonna make 100% of the shots that you throw. You know?
Right.
But you're gonna miss 100 that you don't try. So, ooh, that was a little, But you miss 100% of the shots that you don't try. So that's my goal. What about you?
I knew this question was coming, and I honestly don't have an answer.
That's okay.
I think my biggest thing, because I mean, obviously I have goals. Like, I want this channel to be successful. I want to be able to not stress about money and things like that, and really help people.
That's it right there. That's the
But
big one.
no, seriously, like, I just want to be happy. That's my biggest thing. I just want to be in a place where I'm truly happy by the time I'm 30. And I feel like a big part of that for me this year is getting more in tune, or more on an even level spiritually. Because I'm not a religious person per se. Like, the politics that go into religion and all that stuff, like, it's a lot for me, and I just not. Especially when you go to church and you got like all that stuff. Like, no, it's not for me. I'm okay. But, and maybe because I haven't found a good church home. Like, maybe that's why I feel that way. But just from what I saw as a kid, it's just a lot for me.
Not for me. Ditto.
You know, it's just a lot for me. But I will say, I want to, and I talked about this in my other video from earlier today, I want to be in alignment with whatever it is that God has for my life. I don't want to miss the mark. I don't want to be somewhere that I shouldn't be. I don't want to be in rooms that are not meant for me. I don't want to be in positions that were not orchestrated to work for my betterment. Like, I just don't want those things. I want to be wherever I'm supposed to be and do the things that I'm supposed to do with my life. I know that's a very vague answer, but that's really the only answer that I have.
It's a good answer. It's actually a really, really good answer, because life is so unpredictable and it can lead you in so many different directions.
Yeah.
That it's like, you have your path and then you have God's.
This is like, even with this, like, I feel like it's so funny because when I started YouTubing, that's a joke. I just started YouTubing. When I first thought about YouTubing, I know we've talked about this like years ago. Like, at this point, I've probably been thinking about doing YouTube the better part of this last decade. Like, I've been thinking about it and talking about it kind of in passing since we got out of high school. But at the time when I first started thinking about it, I thought I wanted to do makeup.
What?
Exactly. I really thought I wanted to have a makeup channel, and that was what I was going to do.
Why is this the first time I'm hearing this?
I have no clue. Yeah. I really thought that that's what I wanted to do.
You would think out of all people, you would tell me that. Because I literally did that. I did my makeup. I started a YouTube channel, starting to do makeup stuff. I love makeup. Makeup was everything. It was like my therapy and stuff. So she hasn't told me anything like this before.
And now that you hear it,
you don't wear makeup like that.
And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even make sense for me, because if I wear makeup, it's because you put it on me.
Child,
like,
I'm bland. I'm just playing.
I'm not.
But yeah,
but
I didn't know.
Yeah. And it's just so funny how you change as you get older, because it wasn't until the mental health conversation got really big for me that I realized that is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm getting a degree in public relations, and that's great. And I think image management is something that is going to be a good talent to have. But I realistically probably will not use my degree, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is paying student loans for a degree I don't have. No.
I think you could still use it, though. You can definitely use it, especially for certain things like this channel and stuff. You can definitely use it.
I don't think it'll hurt to have. Like I said, if something falls in my lap, that's great, but it's not like a requirement. I just was not paying student loans on a degree that I didn't have. I'm not doing that.
That part.
Period. It'll sit, and it'll go to collections, and it'll hit my credit, and that'll just be that. But those things will not get paid if I don't have a degree to show for it, period. Especially I'm already at like 30,000. I'm already at like 30,000.
That's not that bad.
No, but for me to be at 30,000 and to not have the degree.
But you're so close.
Right, but imagine if I
stopped. If you stop, no. If you stop, then...
Girl, please, they would sit. So
think I ended my 4 years with 32.
Yeah. All that to say, it's crazy how the things in my life, cause I feel like I rambled a little bit, but it feels like it's crazy to think about how the different things that I've dealt with over the last several years of my life have changed my perspective and have made mental health such a big thing in my life. Even aside from my own mental health issues, it's just something that I feel like is not talked about. And I wanted this channel to be an outlet for those things, for talking about life, doing life together, talking about mental health. I want this to be a safe space for everybody. And so if I can help one person by doing this, I will feel successful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Helping one person.
Exactly.
And it makes a difference.
Exactly.
Because you never know who's actually listening to you and feel the same things you feel. And,
exactly.
You know, life is very, like I said, it's short and it's unpredictable. So to think outrageously that everybody in this world is supposed to have it together is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And stop putting so much pressure on yourself. I mean, I had to stop doing that because I'm one person that's just, I'm very controlling when it comes to my life. I need things to be a certain way, but I had to learn that life does not work that way. You're gonna get hit with curveballs that you were never expecting, and you gotta learn to adjust and adapt to the new situations that come before you, and that's just what it is. Because, like I said before, we all come from different paths. We all come from different journeys, traumas, whatever that make you who you are. Some people catch it a little bit earlier. Some people get it a little bit later, but it doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you any less of a successful person, or even deeming what success means is different to everybody. So it's just like you can't, that's a very small bubble that they try to put you in. And you're limited with that thought process. You're very, very limited. So
I feel like it's just unnecessary pressure. And I think that I don't want to say I moved out too early. I moved out when I was 19. So I mean, I was an adult. But I was definitely young. And I remember what really made me get into like therapy. It's probably 2 years ago. It was funny enough. I think it was like Comcast or something, Comcast or Sprint, one of the two. But I had a bill that I couldn't pay, and I remember being so overwhelmed because again, I'm trying to balance. You know, I was working at the time, but it was like when I first started working at my current job. I'll tell y'all the name of my job when I quit. I don't want to say bad things about the company while I'm still employed there.
Let's not do that.
So still working there, but I was like first starting out. And I remember something happened. The bill wasn't going to get paid, or I didn't have the money for it. And I was hysterical. Like I literally was on the floor sobbing because I was
too much
so
stress.
Overwhelmed and stressed out by it. I lost my train of thought. I swear I had a point.
Are you like leading that up to like how much pressure it takes to be an adult? And like
I don't freaking know at this point.
Like 30s, just like it's unreasonable. It's unreasonable.
I think just the expectation that everything is gonna be like you just got it all together. It's just, it puts a lot of pressure on people, and then you crack. And that's what it was. That is when, aside from getting into therapy and everything, that is when I really, and this is why I'm the way I am now.
I think I know what you're saying. I think I know what you're saying, like how you like don't let certain things like affect you.
And I was gonna say, yeah, and I think it's funny because I've had multiple people say, you just always seem so.
I tell Claire that all the time. I'm like, literally, I can call her and be like, I'm gonna snap, I'm gonna break, this one thing after the other, and she's just like, it's okay. And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like crying, and I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, this is too much. This is too much. So it's like, over time, you literally learn how to like not let that kind of stuff bother you. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I had to learn to be that way. Otherwise, the pressure of all of this stuff, I would be somewhere committed. Pieces, yeah. Like seriously, I would be somewhere locked up because it's so much stuff that we have to deal with, and we have to manage, and relationships and friendships and jobs and bills, and it's a lot. And I don't feel like we talk about how much it is beyond like our friends. Like we talk about it with our friends. Like,
And can you
like,
imagine
whatever.
dealing with all of that and a child?
No.
And a child. Stuff like that is what I think about every day. Like I said, I live by myself. I'm doing all this, and I'm good now because it's just me. I have a dog, so it's like me and my dog. But to think about adding a child to the equation puts me in a different mindset because I know how much pressure, how much money, how much everything it takes to raise a child. And to have that expectation early on before you're adequately prepared is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So just a couple things to clarify. It is okay to not have a house before you're 30. It is okay to not be married before you're 30. It is okay to up and quit your job and to completely start over and have a new career path.
Start fresh.
It is okay to not have it all figured out. And if nobody else says that to you, I'm going to say that to you. It is okay. You will figure it out. Now, obviously, yes, you have to have some sort of plan or some sort of direction. You can't just wander through life aimlessly because those are the people who never accomplish anything. You just take things day by day. You have no type of plan or thought process as to where you want to go. You might need to reevaluate some things. But if you have an idea of where you want to be, it is okay if you're not there tomorrow by the time you're 30. It's okay. I'm more anxious, honestly, about turning 26 than I am about turning 30. I'll be 26 February. And since I turned 25, I've been so anxious about it. Like, anxiety ridden about turning 26. And I have no clue why.
Yeah. It's
No
just
clue
because
why.
I think you're just preparing yourself for a big year. You're just preparing yourself for a big year. It's going to be some type of
Some
life altering.
Yeah. And that's scary to
Change.
think about, but I know that. Like, but it's scary to think because, you know, I've had people die recently. I've had two people, both of my grandfathers passed. My granddaddy caught COVID and he passed like the end of January 2021. And then my pop-up just passed in November. So those things have made me more anxious. And I'm just like, God, I hope nobody else dies this year. Like I was already anxious and now I'm more anxious because it's like, okay, I'm getting older, I'm getting closer to 30, things are going to change, things are going to start to shift, and I really hope there's no more of that this year.
Which is scary, rightfully so.
Yeah,
rightfully so.
I just mentally I'm not here for it. I can't do it.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. And it's like life's already hard enough, man. It's it just doesn't make any sense to me why people put so much pressure on others. Like, I
think
don't
you
know.
have to stop comparing yourself to other people as well. I think social media plays a big part because you have
Social
people
media
who are
in the
like
grand
20
scheme of
and
things is the
millionaires.
devil. Like, let's be very frank.
I'm not gonna say that because we kind of need social media.
No, but that's the problem. We shouldn't have to need.
Well, I mean,
Social
for us
media.
to do what we're doing.
But I'm not speaking about it like that. I'm speaking in terms of the expectation.
Yeah.
The unrealistic expectation of social media. The unrealistic expectation of life itself. You got people out here in their early 20s living in mansions, driving Ferraris, and then people literally are like, why isn't my life like that?
Right.
It's the devil. I'm sorry. It just is. Like, it has this crazy perception of what life should look like, and that's not real.
Right.
Stop comparing your situation to the next person because they didn't go through what you went through,
Especially
and
on
vice
social
versa.
media.
But social media itself, like, I have to learn how to turn it on and turn it off because, you know, I post when I want. I post things that I like to post, and that's that. But I've tried, and that's part of the reason why, like, I feel like I didn't really get into. I couldn't stay as consistent. I lacked motivation at the time when I was doing my makeup videos, but also I didn't want to make social media my life. That wasn't what I wanted, so it was kind of just like it was very difficult for me to really pursue that because I could just not picture myself living for other people on the internet.
Right.
So that was really, really hard for me, and that's why I kind of took a hiatus you want to call it, like a very long hiatus
Yeah.
for my videos. But I just, it's not real. It's not real.
And I think that's another thing that one of my desires for this channel. I want it to be as authentic as possible. I don't want to give the perception that life is easy and that our lives are perfect and that we just have all, no matter where this goes.
Yeah, no.
I don't want that to be the perception, because it's not, and we're not, and that's
Far
just not
from
it.
Far from
That's just
it.
not it. But if we as a community can grow and develop and help each other, if this can be an outlet for us and for other people,
Mission accomplished.
That is all I want.
Mission accomplished.
For there to be an open dialogue about how difficult life is, because it is hard. And, you know, even biblically, like, God never said we wouldn't struggle.
Right.
Where this thought process of life is supposed to be easy comes from, I don't know. And it actually is really concerning, especially when you think about like the younger generation, the kids who like always get participation trophies and they never get told no. And like, that is scary, because that is not real life. We're not teaching them life is hard. Life is
We're teaching them entitlement. We're
are
teaching them
entitlement.
that it's okay, that you should get everything.
You're never
you
gonna
want.
get told no. Life is gonna kick your ass, and that's
Or
just what that is. Like, it is. Like, that's just part of it. I feel like there have been plenty of times.
Oh,
like,
you guys know that y'all set y'all kids up for failure with that. Come on now.
Life has drugged me sometimes.
Boy, I tell you, it like
Like-
slap you down and just
Right.
humble
Like,
you.
life has drugged me, but I feel like it has taught me so many things. And it's also like made me exercise that faith muscle. And when I tell you,
shit is hard, bro.
but just, that is one thing
It
that
puts you. It definitely puts you. It puts you through it mentally. It mentally challenges you.
Yeah.
It challenges your strength, your weaknesses. It literally like it. It like really like it plays you.
But I'm so proud of where I'm at mentally because of, my faith. Like, that's a big thing for me. And I think that that's a big reason why I am the way that I am about certain stuff. I can't tell you how many times, I can't tell you how many times oh my God. I'm gonna cry.
It's okay.
I'm gonna cry. Just, it made me think about my pop-up
Mm-hmm.
and how many times I used to call him hysterical, like when I first moved to U Club, about bills and just different stuff, and he was always that support. And then when and I was young too, I was like 19, and
Mhm.
my pop-up spoiled me. I was a spoiled kid, and I got it on this. It is what it is. Judy and Charles Taylor spoiled me, period.
Mm-hmm.
But when he moved and he started getting older and wasn't a resource anymore, I feel like I had to really lean on God, for lack of a better way to put it. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, I really had to learn to
Like
do that.
develop, sharpen that tool.
I had
that
to
relationship.
strengthen that faith muscle.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because now my faith keeps me grounded in so many different areas of my life and so many aspects. Even with quitting my job, do I know what I'm doing? No. Do I feel in my spirit it's time to do it? Yes. Do I know that I'm going to be taken care of? 100%. And
'Cause you're
that
covered.
is such a...
That's one thing about it. God don't play about his children.
And it's something I want everybody to feel, like, to understand and have that level of peace
Mhm.
about things. That's why I respond to stuff the way I respond to stuff. It really has nothing to do with Amani. It's just knowing it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20 million times where Amani didn't know how things were going to work out. And God already had it worked out years down the line. It's stuff now. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know where I'm going to be when I turn 30. But I know it's already worked out. And that is why it is so important for me to be in alignment with what he wants for my life. And if I do that, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's
That's one thing about it. It's like you really have to know and understand that there's what you want and there's what he already has planned out for you. It's literally like he has your life as a chessboard and he's already moving the chess pieces around because he already has your life planned out for you. He's just kind of letting you figure out what you need to figure out for your life, but he already has it planned.
But then it takes me back.
And then it's like, won't he do it? Because he always does. We have this conversation all the time. We'll call each other and be like, girl, won't he do it? Because we were struggling trying to figure out how we were going to pay this or do that. And it figured itself out.
I think my biggest, and this is about to be a tangent. But
not on your time, but on his time, right, too.
This is about to be a tangent. Forgive me. I think my biggest won't he do it moment was when, so my pop-up, again, that was my best friend. That was my dude. And Thanksgiving 4 years ago, I believe, it was the day after Thanksgiving, and my mom called me. I was out with this girl that I was friends with. I ain't friends with her no more. Why I'm not friends with her, I don't know. But, you know, God removed her. He picked her up and was like, yeah, you gotta get out of here. So, cool. Not friends with her anymore. I was with her, though, at the time. And my mom called me and was like, well, what are you doing? You know, are you out? Whatever. So, apparently, my pop-up had been in the hospital for several days prior to that. He, you know, they said he wasn't doing well. He was going to pass soon. We needed to get there. So literally that was maybe Friday. By Sunday, I was driving to Ohio. 12 hours. Long drive. Packed up Kodak and we were going. You know, I met my mom and my sister at an Airbnb. We went to the hospital. And I'll never forget, we went to the hospital and they only let us back there 2 at a time, right? And so... Come here, Stella. Cause she's itching to get out of there. Hi, mamas. So we get to the hospital and they only let us back there 2 at a time. So my mom and Jordan go first. And you know, they're back there 30 minutes or so. And say it's okay. They're back there for maybe 30 minutes or so. And when Jordan comes out to get me, you can tell she's been crying. So I go back there, and before I even get into his room, I can see him, and he's intubated and had all these like monitors and attachments and everything just all over him. And I remember just stopping and just sobbing. And one of the nurses, you know, hugged me until my mom got to me because it was like I was right in the middle of the hallway. So yeah, so we went in there, sat with him. And up to this point, he had been unresponsive to other people. And so I was just sitting with him and holding his hand and, you know, doing what you do when people are in the hospital, because what can you really do? And he opened his eyes and was responsive to me. And from that point, I'm not saying me being there made him better. I'm not going to, I'm not going to do that. But we definitely had that relationship, and that was my biggest thing. I wanted him to know I was there. And after that, he started to recover. And he lived 4 more years.
That's a blessing.
After that. They thought he was going to die. He had like a hole in his heart. They thought he was going to die. And he lived for 4 more years after that. And that is probably one of the things that I'm most thankful for. And that's my biggest, like, won't he do it moment, because...
Won't he do it?
That man had the final say, he would have died.
It's part of the reason why I feel like life should be taken more lightheartedly, because we're gonna go where we're gonna go regardless.
Right.
So
everybody has
enjoy the ride while you're going in that direction, because you keep trying to fight against the tide, girl, you're gonna have some problems. And you know, life gonna keep going. It's gonna keep doing what it does, because that's the cycle of it. So that's another reason to just enjoy your life.
Not be so
concerned. Spend quality time with loved ones. Age. Don't be so concerned about minuscule things like your age.
Right. Or where you should be.
Because be grateful that you made it to 30.
Right.
So let's start there. Then we can start working towards what we want, because you're gonna spend the entirety of your life stressed out about a career and little things that you can't really control. Some things you can, of course. What you can't control, by all means. But things that we were discussing that God has already predetermined for you, don't stress that. Don't stress that. He's not gonna steer you wrong. He's not. Your life is exactly what it's supposed to be, where it's gonna go, and that makes me sleep a little bit easier at night.
Right.
It makes me not put as much stress and pressure on myself, because I know that God's got me. I'm one of His children. I'm covered. And I've had these conversations with my own grandparents. Like, what do I do with this and the third? My grandpa has told me multiple times when he was actually supposed to be dead, when he should not have made it out. My grandpa literally has given me some crazy stories. When he was in the military, oh my God, like you wouldn't believe it. But he was covered, and God had to have a conversation with him and let him know, like, look, I see what you're doing. This ain't for you. And he's since then built his life for his family, his children, his grandchildren. And, you know, that's just, he was supposed to be here this whole time. My grandmother, she had a brain aneurysm. She was pronounced deceased. She told me about this vivid experience she had with God and the interaction, and she just was like, it was the most, like, you know, I would say out of body experience, pun intended, but she was like, it was breathtaking, the experience that she had with God. But he sent her back down because it wasn't her time. He has it laid out for you. He has it laid out for you. So if that makes you sleep better at night and it kind of reassures you, like, okay, like, I don't have to have everything together the way I think it does, because that's for him to determine. That's not for you. He died for our sins, and he already has your life laid out for you. You're going to experience and enjoy the things that you're supposed to. It's going to make you stronger.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Life isn't for the weak.
Right.
Anybody who's been through this life is not weak.
And there's nothing wrong with going through things. I think that another issue with social media, in addition to, you gotta have it all together because you're this age. You're not supposed to struggle at all. It's supposed to be easy. And that's not true. Like, it's okay to struggle. That's another thing we're gonna talk about in another episode down the line. Embracing the struggle, because it's going to be a struggle, you know? Like, it's gonna be hard. That's just...
Oh my gosh.
That's part of it.
Can you imagine what kind of person you would be if you hadn't endured that?
If you hadn't gone through all those different things.
Life would tear you up. It would chew you up and spit you out.
Right.
Like, when you're in the moment, you're like, oh, why me? Why this? But it prepares you. It adds calluses to your skin. It literally, it toughens your body, your spirit, your mind to endure those things. That way, when it happens again, it's like, oh, that wasn't nothing.
Right.
I can take another lick. It'll be fine. It basically equips you and prepares you for the very hard times in life, because they're gonna come, and it's inevitable. And even Monty had to, like, explain to me a few times, like, it's okay. Because, you know, life is life. It's gonna hit you in multiple different ways, but
life gonna be laughing.
But if you're adequately prepared for it and you take those hits and you learn from it, you're only gonna grow to be a stronger person. The things that you've endured early on in your life is going to prepare you. So your 30s, it's just going to add on to it. It's going to add you and prepare you for your 40s. And then your 40s is going to prepare you for your 50s, and so on and so forth. 30 is not the magic marker. Right. It's just a piece, a section of your life.
Of your life. Your
That's
entire life.
It's just a piece. It's not the end all be all. It's like when you hit 30, it's like, oh my God, like,
that's it.
I've made it. Like, no.
That's it.
It's a tiny sliver piece of your life in the grand scheme. So, you know, don't put as much pressure on yourself. Breathe, you know. Sense of direction is definitely important. Try to have that if you can. Back yourself up with an amazing support system, because life is hard to do by yourself. You need to have a strong support system. Mm-hmm. And just have fun along the way. You know, like, that's one thing that I feel like I've learned too, is just try to have a little bit more fun. Don't take things so seriously. Buy the bag. Buy the shoes, you know, and enjoy your life. Like, one thing about it, I work hard. I work very hard, and I take pride in how hard I work, and that I got it by myself. That was always what I wanted. I never wanted to I wanted to be in a position at some point in my life to be independent, self-sufficient, not have to rely on another person to take care of me. I'm doing that. So I'm spoiling myself. There's nothing wrong with spoiling yourself. There's nothing wrong with going on trips and doing the things that you want to do. Enjoy your life. Just enjoy it. Like, it's crazy that 30 is just like taboo. Simmer down. Simmer down. Like, it's never that serious. It's never that serious. Life should never be that serious. You already got the blueprint, baby. It's already gonna happen. So just let life happen and enjoy the ride.
And you said something, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it made me think about something that my granddaddy said. We did this video when Jordan was dating her ex-boyfriend. We did a video. He organized for us to do like a video
I think I remember you telling me.
message for her.
Uh-huh.
And my granddaddy, he basically was like, happy birthday, grandbaby. Love you, proud of you. Keep moving forward. And that was one of the last, I think I recorded that Christmas Eve maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Eve was the last time that I saw my granddaddy. I still have the video, but that has become, I didn't realize it at the time, but how powerful that phrase is.
It's like your mantra.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
You have to keep moving forward. Life is hard, and that just is what it is. And when you turn 30, baby, it's not gonna get any easier. It's just not.
I promise
Sorry.
y'all, the way y'all have 30 anticipated in your head, you're gonna get to 30 and be like, so what
This is
now?
ghetto.
So what now?
This is ghetto.
Am I supposed to get like a big firework? Like, is it off my brain? Like, am I supposed to? No.
I will say, I definitely believe when you turn 30, there's a shift. Because
Yes,
there's a turn.
but if you're
it's a turning
expecting
point.
something to
magically
to
happen.
magically, like, if you feel like, oh, so different, it's like, no, it's just another year.
Yeah. But you have to keep moving forward. Life gonna keep lifing.
Keep moving forward. Like, Meet the Robinsons.
Don't start.
This is the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear it.
Don't.
Keep moving forward.
I knew you. What did I say?
It's literally the first thing that comes to my head when you say
Oh my
it. I'm
God.
sorry. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one.
Don't. You don't have to.
We
encourage
love
her.
Meet the Robinsons.
It's okay. I've never watched that movie actually.
I'm appalled. We gotta get you educated
Immediately.
after this podcast.
Absolutely not.
It was
Absolutely.
a joke. I didn't actually mean it.
Absolutely. Positively.
Can't play along for nothing.
Was that your nipple?
I don't know.
I'm good at finding them.
Stop! Not on camera.
Oh, so you'll let me touch you off camera?
Maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Take
just,
that back.
30 is not a big deal, guys. It's really just, as long as you keep
It shouldn't be a source of
focusing
stress.
on your goals every year, surpassing 30.
It shouldn't be a source of stress. It should
No.
be an exciting milestone. The chance to look back on your life so far and see all the things you've accomplished and be proud of where you're at. But
Got
it
through another
shouldn't be,
decade.
God, I'm 30. Ugh. Like, that's not how it should be. And I think that's how a lot of people feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because that's, at least for me, growing up, that seemed like, ooh, 30 is just old. Like, you're so old when you're 30.
Yeah.
And now that I'm 25, I'm just like, chill, please. I'm excited to turn 30. I'm excited to see what that next phase of my life brings, because it is a new chapter.
Yeah.
You're leaving your 20s behind. Your
I was
20s
gonna say,
are,
you're surpassing of a decade.
Yeah.
God bless, like,
yeah.
start off with appreciating God and like, okay, I got it this far.
Right.
I made it this far. Let's start with that. Like,
No, be excited. Okay, what's next?
Right.
I've accomplished all these things. I'm excited for what's next.
Mhm. Not, oh, this is it. Like, no, you keep going. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So,
It doesn't stop.
all praises to the Most High.
Be excited.
You get through life and you learn all these new things. Like, you'll learn new things in your 30s that you didn't know in your 20s. and then so on and so forth. And that's why people that are so much older, they're so much more wise, and they really know what they're talking about when it comes down to life experiences. Like, you stress in stuff that is so minute in the grand scheme of things. And I'd be like, my grandparents want to tell me that too. Like, what you worried about that? Like, it's never that serious. And so sometimes you just kind of need that refresher and that reminder that don't take life too seriously. Enjoy it while you can. You know, obviously, try to have a plan if you can, because it's good to have a destination at some point. But
just remember, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything is fine. It's fine.
Everything's fine.
It's fine.
On that note, guys, seriously, I feel like in every video we just be talking and having a good time, but hopefully there's some, some points in there, some little bit of comfort.
One thing about this, I mean, with this podcast, like, I want to make sure that, our true authentic selves are showing through the camera, and I do want to make it known that, like, this is really how we are. Like, this is it. This is it. And, every podcast is different. And so I hope hopefully this podcast will give you something to...
I don't even know if it's really considered a podcast. I feel like aren't podcasts like audio and...
It's just accessories.
Well, no, but like, isn't it like where you just listen to the audio? Like, is it really a podcast if it's visual too?
Well, they have like audio podcasts, but then they have like a visual podcast where they're actually filming themselves. Having like dialogues and stuff. So like, you can. It can go both ways, I feel. But yeah.
That's what we gonna call it.
So we may go off on tangents every once in a while, but we're humans. it happens. But as long as we kind of get to the root of the topic at hand, that's really the most important part. And we want everyone that's watching to relate in some capacity. The biggest thing for me is to not feel like I'm alone. If I'm going through something, I don't want to feel like I'm going through it alone. And you're not. You're not. So as long as we can at least touch some people and in ways that help them see that they're not alone, and that there are
fine,
people
everything's fine,
like all of us out here, and everything is going to be fine. Like, that's literally our mantra. Like, it's fine, everything's fine. We have to tell each other that on a regular basis, because life is stressful, but we're always going to get through it.
Yeah, that's like a thing with my little friend group. Like, I feel like we all say, it's fine, everything's fine.
It's fine.
Everything's fine.
So,
I have a joke.
Another one?
I have a joke. You've already heard this. They haven't heard it. I'm going to tell them. So, an egg walks into a bar, meets his friends, and he's all excited. Guys! Guess what? They're like, what, dude?
I just got laid.
Jerk. On that note, we are done. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of It's Fine, Everything's Fine. We will see you in our next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're doing good. Our first video was actually...
I say it was a success.
More successful than what I think I anticipated for it to be. So I appreciate you guys so much. I'm excited. Our little family is growing already. I see it, and it just... it makes my heart happy. So we're going to get out of here. It's fine. Everything's fine. Episode 2. See y'all in the next video.
Love you. Proud of you. Keep moving forward, sweetheart.